Have you ever just known something deep in your gut? Well, today we're going to talk about that. We're diving into the fascinating and, yeah, sometimes totally flawed world of human intuition. We rely on that gut feeling all the time, but what happens when our internal compass is just wrong? We're going to explore the common glitches in our thinking and why a little bit of science is the perfect fix. So let me ask you straight up, do you trust your gut? That little voice, that instant sense of knowing something? Most of us do, right? And for good reason. It helps us make countless decisions every single day. But here's the real question. Should we always trust it? Look, our intuition can be absolutely brilliant. It's a powerful tool, no doubt about it. But, and this is a big but, it's not foolproof. It's got a few bugs in the system, you could say. These little cognitive biases can really trip us up. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain on 3 of the most common glitches that fool our so-called common sense. All right, let's get into our first glitch. This one is a classic common sense trap. It's called hindsight bias. And I promise you have 100% experienced this, even if you didn't have a name for it until now. So what is it? Well, hindsight bias is that tendency to believe, after an event has already happened, that you totally saw it coming. It's that feeling of obviousness that only seems to pop up when you're looking in the rearview mirror. And here's the perfect nickname for it: the "I knew it all along" phenomenon. Just think about it. After a wild election result or a crazy upset in a sports game, how many people do you hear saying, "Oh yeah, I knew that was going to happen"? That is hindsight bias in action. See, our brain wants to make sense of the world, so it looks backward and weaves all the clues together into a neat little story that makes the outcome seem totally inevitable. Okay, moving on to our second glitch in the system. This one's a big one, the overconfidence problem. This is another classic trap where our intuition just gets way ahead of itself, making us feel a little too sure about what we think we know. So the official definition is that overconfidence is when we overestimate our own abilities or just how accurate our beliefs and predictions really are. You know, we tend to be a whole lot more certain than we are correct. It's like when you're so sure you know the answer to a trivia question, right up until the moment you find out you're wrong. And hey, this isn't just about having a big ego. A bit of confidence was probably super useful for our ancestors, helping them make quick decisions. The problem is when that ancient programming goes unchecked in our modern world. It can lead to some really poor decisions. Because think about it, if you're convinced you already know everything, why would you ever bother to look for new information or question your own ideas? It's a huge barrier to actually learning and growing. And that leads us perfectly into our third and final glitch for today, our brain's deep, almost compulsive need to find patterns, even when there are no patterns to be found. There's a scientific name for this, of course: illusory correlation. This happens when our brain mistakenly connects the dots between two things that have absolutely no real relationship. It's like thinking that wearing your lucky jersey is the actual reason your favorite team won the game. And you know, there's a good reason our brains are wired this way. They are pattern-seeking machines. For our ancestors, spotting patterns, like animal tracks in the dirt, was a matter of life and death. The only downside is that this pattern detector is always on. It's constantly scanning, which means sometimes it sees faces in the clouds or finds deep meaning in what is really just pure random coincidence. So, if our brains are prone to these glitches, the hindsight bias, overconfidence, and seeing patterns that aren't there, what do we do about it? How do we get around these bugs in our own thinking? Well, it turns out there's an antidote, and that antidote is the scientific approach. And you can really see the difference when you put them side by side. Where our intuition falls flat, science gives us a toolkit to keep ourselves honest. Our intuition gives us that "I knew it all along" feeling, but science forces us to make testable predictions before we know the outcome. Intuition runs on overconfidence, while science is actually built on being skeptical and welcoming new information, especially information that proves us wrong. And while our intuition sees patterns everywhere, science has methods to control for random chance. It's a system literally designed to outsmart our own biases. So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Now that you know about the "I knew it all along" phenomenon, the overconfidence trap, and our tendency to find patterns in pure randomness, which of these glitches do you notice the most? In your own life or maybe in the world around you? Because just being able to spot them, well, that's the first step to thinking a whole lot more clearly.